Welcome back, my friends. There is growing tension among U.S. businesses regarding Taiwan. It could have a big impact not only on U.S. investment, but also the upcoming 2024 election. Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Ray Dalio and others have weighed in on the fraying U.S.-China relations and rising tensions over a possible invasion of Taiwan. Their consternation could help center Taiwan in the coming 2024 election cycle, where China is already bound to be a chief foreign policy issue. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former President Donald Trump, ex-Vice President Mike Pence and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley have discussed the cross-strait tensions. What does it mean for semiconductor companies? What does it mean for electronic products? What does it mean for consumers? What does it mean for the U.S. economy? And what does it mean for the future of the United States? But, before we get into all of that, please hit the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of future videos when they are released. And, before we continue, a word from the sponsor of this video. Today's sponsor is InnerLife.com, creator of the InnerLife STS system. InnerLife STS is a cloud mobile platform for mental health care and its integration with primary medical care. InnerLife STS is designed for assessment, data collection and analytics, documentation, and progress tracking. InnerLife STS creates and composes conceptualized narratives and builds them into professional-grade reports. These reports are designed for use by mental health professionals, primary care physicians, justice system professionals and universities and include mental health assessment reports, mental health treatment reports, and treatment progress reports. And InnerLife STS uses doctor-selected pseudonames for all patients. So, only the healthcare professional knows the patient identity. China-Taiwan tensions could grip 2024 election as Musk, Buffett and Dalio sound alarms. Fraying U.S.-China relations and rising tensions over Taiwan have influential business leaders have sounded the alarm bells. Elon Musk and Warren Buffett sounding alarms about a possible invasion, a matter that will likely loom over the 2024 election. China is already bound to be a major issue in the U.S. campaign. Chinese President Xi Jinping is pushing to expand his nation's power. And China's policy regarding Taiwan could end up making it an even bigger focus. As you may already know, Taiwan is the world's leader in semiconductor manufacturing. The kerfluffle has already provoked commentary from some top contenders in the Republican presidential primary race, who have stressed the need to deter a possible Chinese invasion of the island. Taiwan is also a major topic of discussion during this week's Group of Seven meeting in Japan. Xi has made Taiwan reunification a focal point of his agenda and Beijing has ramped up hostilities against the island, putting a spotlight on its importance to the global economy and conjuring fears of a major international conflict that could eclipse Russia's devastating war in Ukraine, said the White House. The official policy of China is that Taiwan should be integrated. One does not need to read between the lines, one can simply read the lines, Tesla CEO Musk said in an interview. So I think there's some inevitability to the situation, Musk said, adding that it would be bad for any company in the world. Tesla recently announced plans to open a new factory in Shanghai that will build Tesla Megapack batteries. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway revealed in a filing that it has completely abandoned its recently acquired stake in Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, once worth more than $4 billion. Taiwan Semiconductor, TSMC, the world's largest chipmaker, based in Hsinchu, Taiwan. TSMC produces the majority of the advanced semiconductors used by top tech companies like Apple, Amazon, Google, Qualcomm and more. Geopolitical strife over Taiwan was certainly a consideration in his decision to offload the shares over the last 2 fiscal quarters, said Buffett. Buffett said, TSMC is a marvelous company, but he had re-evaluated his position in the light of certain things that were going on. I feel better about the capital that we've got deployed in Japan than Taiwan. And I wish it weren't so, but I think that's a reality, he said. Ray Dalio, founder of hedge fund Titan Bridgewater Associates, said, the US and China were on the brink of war, though he specified that could mean a war of sanctions rather than military might. The apparent worries from the 3 members of Forbes's list of the world's richest people come a little late to the party, Longview Global Senior Policy Analyst DeWardrick McNeil. It's frustrating to me, McNeil said. We've been talking about this for years, and we've also been trying to warn against being overly dependent on China as your source for selling products and manufacturing products. Berkshire Hathaway still holds stock in Chinese electric car maker BYD. Quite frankly, it is advantageous for China to scare investors away from Taiwan and damage or taint that economy, because that is one of the scenarios in which they could bring Taiwan to heel without an armed intervention, McNeil said. However, Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has sold more than half the stake in BYD it held as of last year. I don't think an attack is imminent, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be using this time to plan, McNeil said. And what I often see is businesses sort of talking beyond the point, hoping. Hope is not a strategy, that this won't happen. Xi is pushing China's military to be ready to seize Taiwan by 2027. China is likely preparing for a contingency to unify Taiwan with the China by force, the Pentagon said in 2021. China has long claimed that Taiwan is part of its territory. But that claim has been repeatedly rejected by Taiwan's government in Taipei. Beijing in recent years has steadily ramped up its pressure over Taiwan on economic and military fronts. China has flexed its might as recently as last month by conducting large combat drills near Taiwan, while vowing to crack down on any hints of Taiwanese independence. China has not ruled out using force to take control of Taiwan. Taiwan's relationship with the United States has provoked aggressive reactions from China. After House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taipei last summer, China launched missiles over Taiwan and cut off some diplomatic channels with the U.S. A meeting in California between Taiwan's president, Tsai Ing-wen, and current House Speaker Kevin McCarthy prompted more threats and fury from Beijing. Even in a political climate where both major political parties in the United States have been critical of China and wary of its encroaching global influence, leaders have been careful around the volatile subject of Taiwan. The United States has officially recognized a One China policy, that Taiwan is a part of the mainland, for more than 40 years. Ray Dalio predicted that the brinksmanship between the two superpowers will grow more aggressive over the upcoming months and years. The 2024 U.S. election cycle could usher in a wave of anti-Chinese rhetoric. There's little doubt that China will be a major topic on the campaign trail. At least 3 Republicans who are seen as potential presidential candidates have recently embarked on trips to Asia, including Taiwan, to meet with allied leaders. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, and former United Nations Ambassador John Bolton. Meanwhile, U.S. lawmakers at every level have produced an array of legislation seeking to reverse China's growing influence. And some of the potential presidential contenders have already weighed in with calls to meet Chinese aggression with strength. Xi clearly wants to take Taiwan at some point, DeSantis said in an interview with Nikkei while in Japan. He's got a certain time horizon. He could be emboldened to maybe shorten that horizon. But I think ultimately what I think China respects is strength, DeSantis said. I think our policy should really be to shape the environment in such a way that really deters them from doing that, DeSantis said of a potential Chinese invasion of Taiwan. I think if they think the costs are going to outweigh whatever benefits, then I do think that they would hold off, said DeSantis. DeSantis is gearing up to challenge President Donald Trump for the Republican nomination. Trump said, "I expect China to invade Taiwan because Beijing is seeing that our leaders are incompetent." Former Vice President Mike Pence said, "The U.S. should increase sales of military hardware to Taiwan, so that the Chinese will have to count the cost before they make any move against that nation." Presidential candidate Nikki Haley said, "American resolve matters to China. They are watching what we do in Ukraine. If we abandon our friends in Ukraine, as some want us to do, it will only encourage China to attack our friends in Taiwan," Haley said. That the political around defending Taiwan in a Chinese invasion may clash with economic forces. Almost no one realizes that the Chinese economy and the rest of the global economy are like conjoined twins. It would be like trying to separate conjoined twins, said Elon Musk. And it's actually worse for a lot of other companies than it is for Tesla. I mean, I'm not sure where you're going to get an iPhone, for example, Musk continued. Some CEOs of America's biggest banks have said they would pull their business from China if directed to do so following an invasion of Taiwan. The characterization of the entangled global economy is no exaggeration, and much of the focus has been on semiconductors and TSMC. If Taiwan were taken out, we would be like severing our brain, because the world economy will not work without TSMC and the chips that come out of Taiwan today, said John Rutledge, chief investment strategist of Sofinod. Apple is in a very tough position, because the most advanced chips it needs are made in a single building on TSMC's campus in Taiwan, said David Sachs, a research fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations. But the United States has efforts underway to diversify the industry geographically, mostly through a $40 billion investment to expand TSMC chip production in Arizona. Last year, the U.S. Congress passed the CHIPS and Science Act of 2022. The new law appropriates $52 billion to subsidize new semiconductor production fabs in the U.S. The new federal act allocates $52 billion to build new semiconductor chip factories in the United States. Semiconductors are used practically everything these days. That includes basically every internet-connected device, mobile phones, cars and medical devices. The CHIPS Act touched off a wave of new investments by many semiconductor companies. That includes Micron, Intel, Texas Instruments, and even Taiwan Semiconductor, which is not even based in the United States. Prior to passage of the new law, Micron promised to invest at least $40 billion and create at least 40,000 new jobs in the United States. Qualcomm also announced the purchase of $4.2 billion worth of semiconductor chips from the GlobalFoundries factory in New York. Intel announced plans to invest up to $100 billion in a semiconductor fab in Ohio and has already started construction. The world can't run without chips, U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer added. But, what do you think? Please leave a comment below and hit the like button. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Please share this video on social media. Thank you for watching.